What up, YouTube? Wall Street back again, ready to talk about some hoops. So let's dive into it. Today, I want to talk about LeBron James's son, and not the one that you think I'm going to talk about. I want to talk about Bryce James, who was the younger brother of Bronny James. So Bryce James, currently in high school, is part of the 2025 recruiting class, and he is currently ranked number 100. I forget on what list. On the On3 rankings, that's the list. So he's number 100 for the class of 2025, which is not anything crazy. I mean, that's obviously very good for any high school athlete to be ranked in the top 100 players of their class. That's an incredible achievement. But it's not like he's a clone of LeBron James, where he was, dubbed the chosen one and all that, right? So what I want to talk about is, does Bryce James have NBA potential? And I think the answer is yes, because he is taller than Bronny. Bryce is 6'6". Bronny is just about 6'1" or 6'2". And Bryce is crazy athletic. There was a video that came out right before the draft, I believe, where it was LeBron, Bronny, and Bryce all working out. And it might have been with Chris Brickley. It was at the gym that Chris Brickley's always at. I can't remember if it was with Chris or not, though. But Bryce was yamming, like hitting shots, doing everything. And I know, like in a lot of these workout videos, they're not always putting in the misses and stuff like that. But just from looking at, the tape that got put out and stuff like that, he's good. Like, he has potential. He has the size. He has the athleticism. So I think if he kind of sticks to kind of what Bronny's trying to do as well, where it's like, fit into your niche, fit into your role, and use your athleticism as your biggest advantage, I think he can have a good career in the NBA. He can be a long, lanky defender who's got a knack for the ball, getting steals, getting blocks, getting deflections, and also hit open shots. I think it's hard for high schoolers to be good shooters just like off the bat. It takes a lot of adjusting to get used to NBA range and hitting down, shots consistently from the three, from the corner, free throws, everything. It's just, you're not a polished player until you really move up from level to level. So it'll be interesting to see what he does, for the next step. I'm assuming he's going to go to college, somewhere. A lot of people are saying that he's probably going to go to USC. I'm sure if he wanted to go to USC, he could probably figure out a way to get onto that team. But I think it'll be super, super interesting to see how that next year after he graduates high school pans out for him, because there was so much heat and focus on Bronny. I think when Bryce gets to the point where he is trying to get to the NBA or get to the professional level, I don't think the scrutiny is going to be as tough, because number one, he's taller. He's 6'6". I think a lot of people were just talking about Bronny like he doesn't look like an NBA player. And I've said this in the past with some of my videos and stuff, like, you don't always necessarily need to look like an NBA player to be a good NBA player, right? Like, there's certain players in the league that don't look like basketball players. The example I've pointed to before is Trae Young. Trae Young's like barely 6 feet tall, but he's one of the best players in the league. So just because you don't look like a basketball player doesn't mean you're not a good basketball player, right? Because the NBA, a lot of it is about playing your role, being a star in your role, and playing to your strengths, right? And trying to limit your weaknesses as much as possible. But every player is going to have weaknesses. LeBron has weaknesses. Michael Jordan had weaknesses. Kobe Bryant had weaknesses. Every single player that has ever played in the NBA has weaknesses. But that doesn't mean that they're not good players. It doesn't mean that they can't be great. It just means you have to figure out how to play in the most effective way that's going to help your career and your team. Obviously, put your team first, but if you play well in a team setting, you're going to do good things for your career as well. So I think for Bryce, trying to focus on, some NBA role models that have a similar body type and have a similar, play style, or a play style that he can adapt to. I think that's the next step for him, and really trying to figure out, okay, how do I make it to the next level? How do I make it to the league? I think someone like Kentavious Caldwell-Pope would be a really good role model for Bryce to look at. They're roughly the same size. I think KCP's like 6'5" or 6'6". KCP's a great defender, multiple-time NBA champion, hits open shots, double-digit scorer, but he's not like a crazy aggressive scorer. Just comes in, does what he needs to do, and plays hard on both ends of the court. And just from seeing, Hoop Mixtape and, highlights on YouTube of Bryce, he plays hard. He plays the game very hard, and I think Bronny does too, and I think LeBron does too. I think that's a commonality that all of them have. But Bryce really does look like he wants it, and he wants to get better, and he wants to do everything in his power to be the best basketball player that he can be. And I appreciate that. I mean, like, that's really cool. I mean, he's, the son of a billionaire, and he's still putting it all on the line and trying to do everything in his power to be the best basketball player he can be. And that's, a lot of people that are in that situation would be like, oh, I don't have to do anything. I don't have to work. I don't have to be anything in life because, my dad's already made it and that's all I got to do, right? But they don't think that way. Neither Bronny or Bryce thinks that way. And that's a really, mature thing to do. And I think a lot of people don't take their maturity into account. So I think Bryce will be in the NBA. I think he's obviously got a couple more years until he gets there. I don't think he's going to be in as big of a rush to get to the league as Bronny was, because Bronny, I think was part of LeBron's plan. They want to play together, right? I think with Bryce, if he wants to stay 2-3 years in college or play a couple years overseas or something like that, he can do that. I don't think he's going to be in the same type of rush. So I love, LeBron. I love the James family. I think they're great people. So I'm rooting for Bryce, hoping he continues to rise up those boards. Hopefully he'll go from number 100 to, further down into that, lineup, maybe in the 80s, 70s, 60s, something like that, before he graduates high school. I think this will be a big year for him, especially figuring out where he's going to want to go and play basketball next. So let me know what you guys think. Do you think Bryce James has NBA potential? Let me know in the comments. I'll catch you with the next one. Peace.